Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of the Godzilla Garage, where I exclusively talk about Godzilla and Godzilla related content. So, Godzilla King of the Monsters, coming out right around the corner. 36 hours, I'm going to go to the movies, watch the movie, and my anticipation is really, really high for this movie. And much higher than 2014 was. And, to come and think about it, 2014 is an interesting case, both as a movie and an interesting time in my life. So, time for a retrospective. So, here's my retrospective on Godzilla 2014. Okay, so this dates actually back to 2011 when I heard that Toho actually allowed Legendary Pictures, the rights to make a Godzilla movie. And I'm like, okay, cool. As long as Toho's behind it. But then I realized, wait a minute, Legendary Pictures? Why Legendary Pictures? And I found out it was going to be an American movie. Oh, that didn't float well with me. Especially since around that time, reboots, remakes, and reimaginings of previously established intellectual properties were being shelled out in movies left and right. Hell, at that time, I just saw the poster for the Smurfs movies with Smurfette saying Smurfalicious. Smurfalicious? Really? Really, Smurf? Anyway, it's too early in the morning and I'm going to wake people up. Anyway, so yeah, I had no expectations. And then 2 years later, and then I found out that it was official. The movie was shot and made. It was being released the next year. And I was in a bit of a funk at that time because it was 2013. I had to move back to the Bronx, where I still am. And my other uncle died. And this was a big blow because I had my first uncle die the year Godzilla vs. Destroyer came out. And now this uncle died months before Godzilla 2014 was coming out. So I was in a bit of a funk of that. And it also didn't help that that uncle was the one that read X-Men Days of Futures Past to me as my bedtime story, which that movie came out as well that year. So yeah, 2014 was a bit of a rough start for me. And I was in a funk, and finally May came around, and I went to see Godzilla, no expectations, came out blown the hell away because this was Godzilla. This was not Iguana, this was Godzilla himself, and he was huge, hulking, force to be reckoned with, and someone said this in a YouTube video, and it was right. He reminded me of someone that's been there, done that. This wise old samurai that was just doing his duty. And I was, the jaw dropped because once Godzilla was there, where I saw him in that big reveal, I went insane when he did the roar. And people got pissed off when he gets cut away, but, to me, it felt like people didn't understand the power of Godzilla himself, because one thing about Godzilla, in the really good ones, the best ones in the series, he doesn't have to be in the movie as much. You could just know that he's there. You could feel his presence. Hell, Return of Godzilla felt his presence all throughout the first half of the movie. Gogeta did the same thing as well. Shin Godzilla, when he wasn't around, you really felt him lingering. And that's what this movie did. And so the cutaways didn't bother me as much, and the thing was, Godzilla was always there. I was like, where's he going to pop up? When's he going to pop up? And, I didn't think I would ever enjoy a Godzilla movie in an American theater as much as I did in, 1985. And I did. And I was shocked to hear that, this movie did really well in the box office. A sequel was greenlit, but I was also shocked to hear that people didn't like the movie. Now, I figured regular run-of-the-mill audiences wouldn't like it, but then I heard Godzilla fans didn't like this movie, which perplexed me because I'm like, didn't y'all remember 1998? Wasn't that long ago. And then someone had to remind me how old I was, that 1998 was pretty much like almost 14 years away. And some of these people that were around during 1998, they were like real little kids and they weren't around during the whole marketing, or they didn't have the vivid memory as much as I did, since I was like 17 going on 18 at that time. So that's probably why I have more of an appreciation for 2014, because, you know, yeah, movies are not done as, I mean, they're done with better special effects, but people don't really take the care as much in them nowadays. And so the fact that they took the care and they tried to understand Godzilla himself, yeah, really got me interested. I was so blown away by the movie that I went on a date with this girl that I talked about Godzilla a little too much, and I think that's why she didn't call me back, but we eventually ended up getting back together. But then she not only ended up breaking my heart, but she did me dirty in a way that I don't want to talk about. But I was, and the thing is, when this movie came out and how good it did, I was surprised at how many Godzilla fans were still there. This was the movie that actually got me looking much more deeper into behind the scenes of the other movies. This is the movie that also I found out and I got reminded of G-Fest. And I went on online forums, on Facebook and social media, and I was able to connect with a lot of people. I even watched a lot of YouTube videos of YouTubers. I was like, man, I knew Godzilla was popular amongst, you know, people my age, a little bit older, but younger people were still into Godzilla. And this is the movie that got me into the community and made me go deeper into the franchise. And I wasn't as excited to be a Godzilla fan as I was. This is the movie that made me so excited to be a Godzilla fan in the same way I was when I was a kid prior to my teenage years. And so this, for a long time, I considered this in my top 10, but then in serious analysis, this is actually in my top 15, unfortunately, which is why you're not seeing it in the top 10, in my Token 10. But still, this is a good movie. I don't know, I understand some of the arguments, but at the same time, I was around for 98, and I actually watched all the movies around a different time period. So maybe it's my older non-nuance that made me appreciate 2014 more, but still, this is the movie that breathed life back into the franchise and put Godzilla in the forefront, and this is why I love 2014 so much. And I had no expectations, and my expectations got blown away. Hopefully, King of the Monsters can live up to the hype. Agree? Disagree? Please drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, or on Twitter and Instagram at Token Dave 80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, Token Black Guy who's just trying to get by. Catch all of y'all later.